welcome to the Brew Crew Review Podcast, the show by fans for fans of your Milwaukee Brewers. All right, Brewer fans, are you ready for the 2019 baseball season? We at the Brew Crew Review sure are. This is episode number 59, and with me today is Vincent Scott. Hey, fellas.
Hey, happy opening day. Sort of.
Yes, the winter is finally over and baseball's here, and another great season is on the way for the Milwaukee Brewers. I guess obviously the Brewers offseason might not quite be over yet, as we're still looking to possibly sign our key free agent, or maybe two, who knows. But I think it's been a pretty successful offseason overall, and we've added to our stellar lineup by adding in Yasmani Grandal at the catcher position. And I think our lineup is pretty stacked top to bottom. We've got a couple of kind of revamped rotation with three young guns in it, and our bullpen was a strength last year, and hopefully it can be again this year. But there's some ominous signs at the beginning of the year. We're going to get over all that in this episode, but we're going to start off now with our season predictions for 2019. I don't know which of the fellas want to go first, but I guess we'll just start prediction of number of Brewer wins this year.
Are we going around the horn, or?
Sure, Scott, start us off.
All right, and I think I am going to post these to Twitter just as a prediction so we can hopefully see who's right. I'm a little bit concerned with the bullpen right now and the injuries, but with that in mind, I'm still going to give us 90 wins. That's my prediction. We might have lost Vince. And not only that, but I haven't heard Chad yet either.
Chad predicted 112 wins for the Brewers this year. That includes all the playoff victories that he said, so I don't know what that means, but he did say that he will be expecting the Brewers to hoist a trophy at the end of the year, so I'm not sure exactly what that means either. Hopefully it means the World Series trophy. So thanks for sending that along via text, Chad. All right, well, we're going to have to wait for Vince to chime back in.
We'll just keep going back and forth, and then we'll just bombard Vince as soon as he comes back and just be like, okay, answer all these questions.
Okay, so I'll do mine then, I guess.
All right.
Well, I'll do my season winner when he comes back in. We'll go over his division and such. So, okay. So that's 90 wins is nice, Scott. I actually think we're going to exceed that. I'm going to predict that the Milwaukee Brewers will win 93 games in 2019, and that's going more than I predicted last year. So, yeah, I'm on board with
nice.
the Brewers' plan. Thanks to our great owner, Mark Antonasso, who has opened up his pocketbook this offseason, our outstanding GM, who apparently knows much more than we do, and also our unbelievable in-game manager, Craig Counsell. I mean, I think those are really the keys that make this machine go. We obviously have the talent and the players in place as well, but I'm really thinking optimistic for this year. And, I still think there's a lot of naysayers. And all throughout the playoffs last year, there were a lot of fans in baseball and commentators on television and everything. People think that they're experts in baseball who really did not believe in what the Brewers were doing and thought that they could do as far as they did with their rotation members and how often they use their bullpen and all that stuff. But I mean, I think one of the keys is obviously Christian Yelich and his MVP season, especially in down the stretch. But overall, I just think we were really built in a wise way, and lots of things. A lot of people deserve credit. I think one of the hugest losses this season would probably be our pitching coach, Derek Johnson, who unfortunately went over and is now the pitching coach for our division rival Cincinnati Reds. He finally does get to work with Sonny Gray, who they traded for. So good luck to them, but not too much luck. But I think the Brewers will be okay in that department, and still thinking very positively going into 2019. So, I guess, Scott, let's go around and do kind of our divisions. If you want me to start off on these, my prediction order of finishes. I tell you, let's start with the AL East. And we'll eventually end up with NL Central all the way around. So the 5 teams in the East, the prediction order of finish, I got the Indians winning that division once again. The Twins I've got in second place. I don't know how they're making the playoffs. So White Sox must improve in third. Tigers still spinning the wheels in fourth, and the Royals are pretty terrible. And then last. So what are your thoughts on the AL Central, Scott?
Pretty good. We're pretty close. I would go with the Indians running away with that division. The Twins in second. I would also go with the White Sox in third. They have a lot of good young talent. Then I'm going to pick the Royals, and then rounding it out at the bottom, I will put the Tigers.
Yeah, the Tigers just did lose their best pitcher, Michael Fulmer, out for the season due to injury. So, yeah, they're not the rotation is really pretty terrible. Okay, let's. I think I had said we actually start with AL Central. Let's do the AL East next. Well, I believe, in a surprise, I actually think the Yankees are going to win that division, followed by the wild card winning Red Sox in second place for this season. The Rays in third once again. I've got the Blue Jays in fourth place, and the Orioles, who were historically bad last year, will just be only laughably bad this year, but also in last place in the East.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pick this division because, this is just one of those divisions that just doesn't get a lot of attention. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. No, it's obviously Yankees, Red Sox. That's all anybody ever talks about. It makes me sick. So I'm going to give it to I'm going to say Boston. Probably thinking, I don't know. I'll say Boston, just barely edging the Yankees. And then we're the same after that. Rays, Jays, and Orioles. Wow, they're going to be bad.
All right, that brings us to the AL West. It's an interesting division this year. Some teams going up, some teams going down, but I believe the returning champs will still be the Houston Astros of the AL West. Pretty strong lineup top to bottom. They just re-signed or extended, I should say, Justin Verlander for 2 additional years. He still seems to really be a great ace, and they've got Garrett Cole still for 1 more year, I believe. So they're in really good position, I think, and there's a possibility, in my opinion, that they might even bring Dallas Keuchel back here if they can get him at a reasonable 1-year rate or something. But so I see them in first. Second place, I'm going to pick the Angels, and I'm going to pick them as the second wildcard team this year. I think, obviously Mike Trout's big offseason news of his massive extension. He's the best player on the planet, and I think when Shohei Ohtani comes back, he's going to be, a key member in the middle of their lineup. Obviously, there's some aging players, but I think they have made some improvements in rotation, and like Tyler Skaggs had a good year in rotation, and even Matt Harvey was probably a good signing, and we'll see. I think that they're going to make some noise. In second place and third place, we got the Mariners, who are a trading machine, and they've made some interesting offseason moves and what have you, and they got rid of Robinson Cano's contract, which I think was wise, and overall, I think they're set up for the future, but not this year. Third place, so fourth place, the Oakland A's. I think that they did not properly address the rotation, and they're going to go with some young pitchers this season and break them in. I think it'll be kind of a long season for them. Fourth place, and the Rangers are still pretty bad. They're last place again this year. Scott, you're at AL West.
All right. Well, we're a little different once again, but I'm going to go with Houston again at the top, so we align there. The Angels are a good pick, but I'm going to put the A's in the second spot here. The A's remind me of a lot of the Brewers, maybe because they're the small market underdog that I love to root for. And maybe it's because, we take these kind of different approaches and get the most out of our rotation and bullpen. And I think that they're trying to do that this year, and I hope it works out for them. Then I'll go with the Angels, and then the Mariners and Rangers.
All righty. Let's go over to the NL, and we'll start with the NL East. I'm going to say that the Washington Nationals will actually have a better year this year without Bryce Harper, and obviously a player like Patrick Corbin's an awesome signing, and I think they've improved their team, and I think other players, like younger players, will look to continue to improve, like Trey Turner. I see them as first place team. The Phillies, I put in second. Obviously, they've got quite a lineup, adding Harper to it. And third place, the Braves, I don't think had the greatest offseason. They did sign Josh Donaldson, but I'm not sure if that's really enough for their offense. But I'm going to put them in third place. I think they're going to, break in quite a few young pitchers this year, and it's not always a recipe for success, but they've got some good ones on the way. Fourth place, I've got the Mets, who really changed over a lot of their lineup and whatnot, and they still have some great pitchers, but I don't know, things just don't usually gel for them. I see that happening on this year. And the Marlins are in last place, and if they finish anywhere other than last, I will be shocked. But anyway, they're going to look to rebuild for sure under new ownership. So that's my NL East.
All right. Well, I think we would probably at least both agree that this division, as well as the NL Central, are going to be the most exciting for who's going to run away with it. I guess other people say the AL East too, but other than that, I think the other three divisions are pretty close to runaways. But I'm going to say that the Phillies are going to win that division. I just think that the Phillies are kind of in that sort of go for it mode. I think they're probably maybe a little bit more willing to get those extra acquisitions at the trade deadline to put them over the top. I will then put the Nationals, then the Braves, and then the Mets, and then finally the Marlins. The Mets, I don't know. Like, I have a feeling that until they make the playoffs, like, I just can't predict them to make the playoffs because they have so much talent on the pitching end, but it just seems like every year they get snake bitten by injuries, and they just can't put it together.
Yeah, I think they've got a young first baseman, Peter Alonso. I think if he can make a huge impact for them once he does get the call of the majors. And I think he could be a difference maker. It really shoots them up those division standings for the next couple of years, but especially while they still have DeGrom and Syndergaard under control. But I think that their window, they've got to do what they can to get to the playoffs, but I just don't think they did it this offseason. So moving over to the NL West, we've got, let's see, I think this overall division has been really strong in the last couple of years. Obviously, both Dodgers and Rockies made it in the playoffs last year, and the Brewers faced both of them. This year, I am going to pick the Dodgers to win the division again. I was kind of surprised that they were not in on the Harper sweepstakes, so to speak, because I thought they really cleared some money by trading Yasiel Puig and Matt Kemp. I really thought they were going to make a run at that, but instead they signed A.J. Pollock. And but they've got some injury concerns with their ace Kershaw to start off the year this time, but I think they'll weather the storm in a kind of weak division. They're first place at the end of the year. Second place, I've got the Rockies again, and then third place will be kind of my surprise team. It'll be the Padres. Obviously, they made a big signing in Machado, but I think overall some of their young pitchers are going to come through for them and have good seasons. And the rest of the division is pretty sad. I'll put the Giants in fourth, and unfortunately, a team I like, the Diamondbacks, in dead last, and they made a terrible trade by giving away their franchise player, Paul Goldschmidt, to the St. Louis Cardinals for a bunch of crap. And the Cardinals just re-signed them, and I'm not too happy about it. So anyway, yeah, they're dead last. So that'll be my NL West, Scott.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say that the Dodgers also win. I mean, yeah, they've had a few injuries already, but I mean, they have like what, I don't know, 10 starters, so they should be fine. I will also say the Rockies, and then after that, your surprise pick. I thought it was going to be my surprise pick. I was going to pick the Padres third, but then I flip flopped the last two. I have the Diamondbacks fourth, and the Giants with newly acquired Eric Kratz, but they will still finish last.
Oh man. Okay. That brings us to the final division, NL Central. Do you prefer to go first, Scott, or you want me to again?
I don't know. You've been doing such a great job. I say just roll with it.
All right. Well, I'm going to pick the Brewers first.
Yes, awesome. It's a great pick.
Yep. Followed by the St. Louis Cardinals. Fortunately, I have them getting one of the two wild cards. The Cubs, I'm putting in third. I literally almost put them in fourth. I think they've had a terrible offseason. Really did nothing to improve their team, in my opinion. Their bullpen's just a wreck. They're really counting on some players to bounce back, namely Yu Darvish and even Chris Bryant from bad injury-plagued seasons. And they just sent Ian Happ to the minor leagues. I just don't think some of these guys I thought were gonna be stars like Kyle Schwarber just are more platoon options. They're not even that good players. I think they're gonna have kind of another terrible not terrible season, but I'm picking them for third. They're not gonna make the playoffs. Fourth place, the Reds, I think will make big strides, and I think they could even finish in third ahead of the Cubs. I think for them to make the playoffs would be a huge surprise. But with Derek Johnson as their pitching coach and basically a brand new rotation, basically top to bottom, I think they could surprise. I mean, Joey Votto's getting up there in age, but they did acquire some decent hitters. They've got some good prospects coming up. They're definitely a wild card team. And sorry, not to use that term, not an actual wild card team, but a team that
Dark
could
horse
just,
candidate.
Dark horse team. Yeah, there we go. And then the Pirates, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be like a terrible team that for sure is set for last, but I just don't think they're in such a tough division. I think if they were in the NL West, they could possibly even finish second, but in our division, I think that they're going to have a tough go of it. And I think I'm picking them last. So, all right, Scott.
All right. Well, this isn't going to be very exciting, but let's see. I do have the division winner, same as last year. Your Milwaukee Brewers. Then I do have the Cardinals in second. I have the Cubs in third for many of the reasons that you just gave. The Reds, I completely agree. I really want to see what Derek Johnson is going to do with that staff. He's got a lot of young, raw talent there, and it's just going to be a matter of seeing what he can get out of them. And then the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, I will say this. Top to bottom, this is the strongest division, I think. There's not one bad team in this division this year. And I don't think you could say that about any other division. So top to bottom, this is going to be a real tough division. We're not going to be able to beat up on anybody. And because of that, it's going to make getting into the wild card for some of the, like having a wild card out of this division, it's going to make it much more difficult. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. But yeah, it's a rough division this year.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I guess should we go ahead and say who we think our playoff teams will be in each conference? I guess American League and the National League. I think I already mentioned. Obviously, the playoff teams will be the Indians, Yankees, and the Astros, division winners. I've got the Red Sox and Angels as a wild card, and to emerge in the World Series, I think really the best team in that league is the AL is going to be the Astros as a representative in the World Series, and over in the NL, Brewers, Nats, and Dodgers, division winners, Cardinals, Phillies, the wild card game. I'm going to pick a Nationals Astros World Series. Well, helping Silvers, but that's just my gut. And I'll put the Nationals to beat the Astros as my prediction in the World Series.
Wow, you should put money down in Vegas right now for the Nationals to win it all, because I feel like that would get a pretty significant payday. I mean, not saying that the Nationals are bad. I just don't think there's a lot of people betting on them now that Bryce Harper left. They just think that, this is a team that's going to, really slump now. But, man, they got some really good pitching. They still have some great hitting. I mean, they could absolutely do it. Won't be my pick, but it's a good pick.
Okay. What are your picks, Scott?
All right, let's see here. See, this is the problem when you don't write this stuff down. I'm going to, wind up going through here, and you'll be like, hey, you just picked 4 wild cards or something like that. So I'm going to try to –
Well, no, your division winners were the Indians, the Red Sox, the Astros, and the AL. So, yeah, just your wild cards.
Okay, so in the AL, my wild card will be the Yankees, and I'll say the Yankees and the Twins. How's that?
There we go. Nice. And what do you think will be the rep in the World Series for the American League this year?
All right. This might be more with my heart than with my head, but I'm going to say Cleveland Indians.
Nice. All right. And over in the National League, you did pick the Brewers, Phillies, and Dodgers as your division winner, so they're in the playoffs, and your wild cards.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Cardinals and Rockies, and
okay.
This is a tough one. I hate to say it. I think the Dodgers are gonna find a way to sneak back into the World Series.
Dodgers versus Indians World Series Scott has, and
I'm going to pick the Indians winning it all.
All right, awesome. Their fan base has definitely been waiting for that one, and we'll be happy to hear that. They do have an unbelievable top to bottom starting rotation. I agree with you that. I think their bullpen is more middle of the pack, decent but not great. Their lineup, obviously MVP candidate Francisco Lindor should be back fairly early in the season, and another kind of MVP candidate Jose Ramirez. Even the two of them, I think, round out a great lineup. But the rest, we should see. I think the rest of the guys could click. One of my favorite Indians is actually Greg Allen, who is their possible third or fourth outfielder, but really has a lot of speed, knows how to get on base. Look for him to possibly hit toward the top of the lineup. But anyway, yeah, I think it's a good pick. Indians definitely are due. So, all right, well, let's move on talking about some Brewer talk. We'll wait for Vince to chime back, and we'll add in his picks, or possibly even just post them on Twitter, all of his predictions as far as the playoff predictions and whatnot. And total Brewer wins, we'll post that for you. But all right, let's move on to just talking about some Brewers before the end of this episode, Scott. First of all, the big news this week coming down, Corey Knebel had to leave a spring training start, had to get an MRI. There is a UCL. Damn it, it's not a full tear, which is not going to not possibly require Tommy John surgery. He could pitch through it. He could. The bottom line is he's going to be out a while. It could be the whole year, it could be a month, it could be somewhere in between. But I think the trickle-down effects would really, ripple our bullpen and create some problems. So, of course, with that rumor kind of happening at the same time was to talk the Brewers were interested in Craig Kimbrell, who's still a free agent. Whether or not he would still require a multi-year deal. As he started the offseason asking for 6 years, it's hard for me to believe he'd take less than 3 or 2, but At this point, he may have to. I mean, the season's starting, so if he may even have to one year. I don't know, but what are your overall thoughts, Scott, on the whole Knebel situation and the Kimbrel rumors? Like, what do you think will happen, and what do you think should happen as far as if the Brewers should panic, so to speak, or even if they, if it wasn't for the Knebel injury, whether they should have added Kimbrel anyway to just strengthen a strength, so to speak. What are your thoughts?
Well, I got a lot of thoughts. I'm going to lead off with this, though. We asked our Twitter followers if they felt like Kimbrel was going to end up in a Brewer uniform, and maybe there was just a little bit of optimistic hometown voting, but 62% of them actually said they thought we were going to sign Kimbrel. I am not among that 62%. I don't think that we will. Not to say it's not a bad thing, but I just think that his asking price is so high that we're so far apart. And as I don't see Stearns as the type of GM that's going to be making like a rash decision, like that or a snap decision based off of the injuries to our pen right now. Having said that, this is a team whose strength is our bullpen. We built this team on the strength of our bullpen. Our starting rotation does not have an ace because of the strength of our bullpen. And when you look at it now, suddenly, let's not forget about Bobby Wall, who I actually thought was going to be like our unsung hero going into the year. And he's going to have to wait till next year because he's out for the year already. Jimmy Nelson had, I think they just called it arm fatigue. So he's not ready either, and he was going to be in the bullpen for at least for a while. Jeffers, we still don't know what's going on with him. He's going to be out for a while. And now we have Knebel, who's definitely going to be out for a while. I mean, that's half your pen right there. So, I mean, that's pretty significant. We did a post that said, who's going to be the closer this year? Is it going to be Jeffers? Is it going to be Knebel? Well, opening day, it's going to be neither because nobody's available. It's Josh Hader and a bunch of other guys. So having said that, I really hope this was your pick from last year that was going to step up. I really hope that Taylor Williams steps up this year, and I really hope that especially early on in the season, he's a big part of that bullpen. I think we're going to be able to find a way to get through it, but I do not think that there's any chance that we are going to sign Craig Kimbrel, and if we do, I can't see it for more than 2 years. Not even a 3-year deal unless it has like a mutual option for the third year or something like that.
Interesting take, definitely, Scott. I'm not sure what's going to happen either. I guess before I do my statement, what's your gut feeling as far as how, if you had to guesstimate, what do you think? How long do you think Knebel is going to be out for?
If I have to make my best guess, I don't think he pitches before the All-Star break. That's just me, but I know that I did talk to our inside source, Tom Carter. He mentioned, like, I asked him what he thought about it, and he just kind of lowered his head and shook his head a little bit. Would not elaborate, but the body language was there. I'm concerned.
Yeah, I guess my gut feeling is I kind of agree with you that Knebel might not be there for a while, and in fact, I have a feeling that he's going to have to kind of make a decision on his own. I feel that we're going to find out here within, possibly by the time you even listen to this podcast, I'm not sure, but within the first 2 weeks of the season that Knebel is going to decide to go under the knife, so to speak, and be ruled out. And I think at that point, or possibly before that's even announced, the Brewers, knowing that, will pony up and pay for Kimbrel, whether it be 1 year deal, if they can get away with that. There's really no other suitor. Why offer him more than 1 year, I guess. But even if we sign up for 2, I think maybe our owner, Mark Antonacci, is comfortable with that, knowing that I think he really feels the Brewers are going to have a great team this year and next and beyond. But, I mean, really, on the cusp of the World Series or playoffs, at least, in the next couple of years. And why not strength. And if Knable comes back, or even if he can still pitch in the second half, why not just add him to an already strong bullpen? So I think it could possibly happen. But again, I'm just over the 50% mark, like our Twitter followers, around 60% thinking that it could still happen. But I think the caveat is the Brewers are probably waiting until they either Knable himself make the decision, or if the Brewers recommend it or whatever. But if the opposite is true and they deem here within the next week or two that, hey, it's not as bad as they thought, and Knable, has pitched through it before. He's had a little bit of a UCL tear or a problem, I guess, in the past he's pitched with. If it's just that it was, it's that again, after he gets another opinion, then I think they'll just get by with their internal options until he is ready. What I don't think is going to happen, which other people baseball think, is that Josh Hader will be elevated to the closer role. I think the Brewers love Josh Hader and the role that he is being used, which is whenever needed, not necessarily at the end of the game. And so regardless of what happens, I think Jeffers then will, at some point, once he's healthy enough, take over that closer role, with Hader staying in his role, or possibly, like you mentioned, Taylor Williams or someone like that stepping up. And I think they're very capable of it, and just pitching the ninth, and maybe they'll just, do matchups or whatever. But I kind of don't think Hader's going to be annoyed at the closer at any point, just because I think the Brewers love how they've utilized them and how successful they've been at it in the past. So I think that'll continue. We should kind of mention that the Brewers did sign a couple of free agents that were let go by their teams for our bullpen, and one was actually given a major league deal, and that's Alex Wilson, who was released by the Indians. He signed on with the Brewers, a right-hander, and he could be a solid member of that bullpen. I don't know how much about the back of the bullpen, but in the middle of the bullpen, I think that'd be a good addition. And also Josh Fields, who previously pitched with the Dodgers very well for the last few seasons. He was signed also by the Brewers. I think he could be a huge contributor, maybe fill whatever role the Brewers had for Bobby Wall. I mean, he is a fireballer. I think he's got back of the bullpen potential, and he could possibly a closing option as well. So I think Stearns is kind of, piecing together, working the waiver wire and adding in guys they can think could really help this team. And it just seems like the Brewers are a team that might go that route over a big splashy signing like Kimbrel. But I think it all depends on the price of Kimbrel. If he's willing to do 1 year, I don't see why they wouldn't go for it. And I think Antonaccio might be like, you know what, I'll splurge this year, but I don't think signing a pitcher, closer at his decline to a multi-year deal might be wise. But when we give them on 1 year deal, go ahead, do it. So I think that's where we're kind of at with that. And I think if they don't pull a trigger on that, I think that they're confident with Stearns' ability to get the most out of the other relievers he's able to kind of put together as he built his bullpen. So I don't know. I think that's my take on the bullpen. I am a little bit concerned, but we shall see.
So since we're at a 2-minute warning here, I guess, who do you think is our opening day closer, if not Josh Hader?
If not Josh Hader, I think he's just he won't really appoint a closer. I think it'll be whoever. It'll be a committee, so it could be anyone. Claudia could come in. It just kind of depends. I don't think, but it kind of depends on who's up there. Maybe on opening day. Who knows? I guess we'll see. But I don't think there's going to be any specific person. I mean, he could use Hader too, like if the matchup warrants it. So I just don't think there'll be someone like appointed to that. I think Hader will still be that guy that floats around and used in the most important situation that's necessary. I think that's a wise way to use the bullpen. Brewers do that, some other teams don't. So I think that'll continue. Now, before we wrap it up here, Scott, I do want to quick mention the fact that Nelson, is going to start the year in the minor leagues and pitch, once he's healthy enough to pitch, and he'll work his way up to be a future member of the rotation, I believe, not necessarily the bullpen. But an interesting thing we should point out is Chase Anderson was the motor of the bullpen, and so basically our starting rotation at the beginning of the year is Chacin, Zach Davies, and also our three young guns all made the rotation. Freddie Peralta, Brandon Woodruff, and Corbin Burns. And I think that's really exciting because I really believe that this was a great decision by the organization. I think this is our best starting rotation that we can enter 2019 with outside of Nelson. And I think all three of those guys are going to surprise and do good. And I think that they're really the Brewers are going to be better for it. I think our rotation this year is better than it was at the beginning last year. I really do.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with it. Pretty cool. And hey, we're out of time. Stay classy.
All right. Stay classy, guys. We're looking forward to 2019. Hopefully Vince turns back in. Make sure, to follow us on Twitter if you're already doing that. And it's going to be a pretty exciting 2019 season, and we're all ready for it.